Remember, we're in Africa and it's hot and you have to walk all the way to the hospital. 5 miles. There you go.
Everything on the system in the air system.
The struggle is real.
Patient race. If it was in an Ebola patient room, it is considered contaminated and dirty, and it never comes out until it's sealed.
Yeah, BJ, come on, come on.
The only time it comes out is when we have it completely sealed. Move like the wind.
I mean, we tried one month. I kind of want to try it now.
Come on, BJ, you got this.
How are you guys feeling?
Tired yet? You tired yet?
Well, I'm really tired.
I would be too.
What if they do what if you guys do lunges all the way across?
Lunges? Oh. Ooh, lunges would be good.
Do lunges.
You do lunges?
Lunges. Forgot leg day, huh?
What about high knees?
High knees,
You do
yeah.
some high knees down. There you go, there you go.
All the way down, all the way down. What are the side ones called where you have to follow side?
I think they're just side steps. That's what we call them. Galloping?
No. You guys do the side all the way down.
What?
Like walking with like you do in basketball and stuff? Yeah,
There you go.
there you go.
Look at
It was great. I was coming out of skip.
Skip.
Just to get their heart rate up. BJ hates us now. See how much they can.
Is your heart
Good
rate up
job.
or not?
Is your heart rate up?
My heart rate would be at 199.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
Now what?
Try the, try the.
Matt doing this. Our heart rate is up. So you got a minute. I'm timing you.
Lock the elbows.
Oh,
I'm gonna lock the elbows. And be direct here. Let's move him over a little bit, so you can get directly over him. There you go. So directly, you want to be directly over him. There you go. It's hard because he's a little higher than he normally would be. So there you go. And hard, about 2 inches down. To the song. To the song. Hey, 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 stay alive. There you go. Stay alive.
This dude has got the rhythm, man.
Yeah.
I'm doing this for a minute.
You got 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Alright, we're gonna lose him. Get the paddles.
Don't worry, you got your backup behind you.
Yes. So what they found is with that specific rhythm, it's fast enough and forceful enough to force the oxygenated blood through the system. If you go any slower, it's not enough to get it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Alright, so what else you guys want to do? You can lift the patient up, you can, whatever you want to do. Just don't break it.
That would be a real
Did you want to try to lift the lift?
Defecated again.
Yeah.
Like straight up? Or
No, not straight up.
just
Like
roll
on
him
this
a little
side,
bit.
like
You can roll him on the side, or you can try to lift him completely up. About 150 pounds. I'm trying to remember if this one bends or not at the waist. So I don't think it bends. No. Oh, it does bend. There you go.
He's alive.
Oh gosh.
It looks like the simulated kid from Monster Inc.
It does.
It's like when he's
sits up and yells.
What else?
I feel like lifting the patient is really good because lifting the patient is really good now that we know the weight and I'm getting pictures of this. We could look at it from a lifting analysis too.
Actually happening.
The 150
You could
pounds.
try assisting him up and then maybe swing his legs out. We just gotta be careful because there's like electronics.
Oh, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm a ghost.
Oh man, this is heavy. I can do it. Oh man, it's so heavy.
Like, so I'll bring him up and then swing his legs out? Yeah.
That's too much.
Would I go under?
Probably under.
Alright, yeah, that's too much.
I think this is one of the anatomically correct ones. Nope. It's not.
No, it's so heavy.
How are you doing?
I'm just overall tired.
Alright, anything else? Do you want to switch out? Does anyone else want to try what they just did? Anyone else want to put the PPE on? What else do you guys need to know?
Did you want to try it?
I'll try it, I don't care.
Are any of the dummies that are in there, are we able to put something to go down to try the dexterity a little bit?
Should do something like
You know, I'm not sure what we
So
could
like
do.
laps.
What's that?
I'll have
Like
to
some
look.
bending, like lifting, because like aside from that, like maybe you need to like go down or something.
Yeah, you mean what would we have to do with the patient to do that?
Remember the lifting guy when we had to be like
Yeah.
that?
That's for Craig.
That's a good point because in this case, I mean, unless a patient fell.
Well, think about what we did in our lab. So.
Yeah, so if you wanted to try it, if he were on the floor and then you were to pick him up and try to get him on there, that would be really tough and you'd need assistance.
That, but yeah.
Then,
Maybe he just rolls off.
He's got all, I don't want to.
yeah.
I don't want to break into his stuff. He's got stuff here for a crite, but I don't know if they would actually do a tracheotomy. That's where they put the hole in the neck, help him breathe. But I don't really want you guys using sharp instruments. No offense, but now what you could do if you wanted to, when we do an intubation, we have to open the airway. So with one hand here and one hand here, we have to be able to use 2 fingers to, don't wrench down on him because it will break, but 2 fingers here. We have to move the tongue out of the way, and that's how we would have a second person coming in with a scope to actually intubate. I don't have a scope though. Trying to think of what something else. Oh, I know. You haven't got a piece of paper?
I do. We
here. Well, here. Let's do this. So we have to take notes on our patient, and they have to be legible because they have to be able to be read by the other healthcare workers. So do you think you'd be able to, while you're in that, take legible notes about what you did to John Jones?
Here's a surface to write.
There we go. Okay. Somebody practice that. Well, what we would do, so he asked a good question. He said, if there's blood or something on my gloves, I'm taking notes, are the notes leaving the room? So in that case, any time that your hands are contaminated, we're going to wipe it off with that orange top PDI wipe and let them dry before you pick up the pin. Now the pin would never leave the room because it's dirty, but the paper would, as long as we didn't get it soiled with blood or other body fluids. See, you broke the pin. How'd you break the pin? Patient has a bull. What do I do? Okay. Alright.
It is a little bit harder.
So something else that we use is we use tough books sometimes to put in notes. I think they were going to do all downtime forms, which are physical forms that we have to write. But if we did have a computer that maybe we didn't mind getting rid of after we're done with that patient, you may also have to type. So maybe if one of you wanted to practice trying to type, I'm not going to turn the computer on, but do you think you could type? Do you think you have enough dexterity in your hands to type? Because most of our patient records now are electronic. So, in fact, by I think the end of this year or next year, it's federally mandated that they have to be electronic, all electronic now, unless you have something that happens. I want you to try an ambu bag. Do you want to try this? So this is called an ambu bag. When somebody's coding, when they're unable to breathe, you have to be able to hold this on the person, and it forms a seal. So the plastic forms a seal. So you have to hold this on the person and squeeze it like that. And it gets very, 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 very exhausting after a while. So if one of you wanted to, and you can tell I'm not holding it right because you can hear it. So you have to get really, really, really good. Because if you don't, like right here, the air's just going to escape out. So sometimes people will even do this, like that, and then try to, I've seen people do all kinds of crazy things. But you have to hold it hard enough so that you're not hurting the patient, but you're forming a seal all the way around, and then squeeze it with enough force to force air in. I'm going to try that. And this will be done at the same time as somebody's doing chest compressions. So do one of you want to come to the other side and do chest compressions? You want to go about 2 inches down, so you want to go a little bit harder. There you go. Pressure down to get that seal, yeah. What's happening is it's escaping out from the book's nose.
Matt, can you get it on here? It's taped.
What do you mean?
It's already taped. I know it's contaminated.
Well, throw it away.
Seconds. Alright, you guys are good.
Alright, so that was 1 minute. And we very, very rarely have a code that lasts only 1 minute. So, if you had to do that for 5 or 10 minutes, how do you think you feel? It's very hard, yeah. Even without having that stuff on, it's difficult. And so it's even worse. Alright. Anything else? Anyone else want to try? Want to get into the PPE? You kind of do, but you kind of don't. Okay. Alright. Well, you guys want to work doffing them appropriately, the right way?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
When they're in the room with the patient for 4 hours, Are they actually doing work for 4 hours? Or do they...
Not the whole time.
Okay.
So the whole thought process behind keeping them in the room for 4 hours is it takes, every time you doff, you increase your chance of contaminating yourself. So what they're doing most of the time is they're in the room with the patient. They may not be physically doing something with the patient if there's nothing wrong with the patient. So if the patient's breathing on their own, or if the machine's breathing for them, if they're IVs. Or so, depending on the acuity of the patient, so depending on how severe the patient was, they could be doing a lot of work. But if it's a patient that we were able to catch soon enough, so when they're in the early stages of the disease process, they don't have as many things going on with them. And it would be once an hour, they would check the vital signs. Anytime that the IV fluids needed to be changed out, they have all that stuff in there with them. So they're probably, out of the 4 hours, I would say they're probably doing about an hour and a half of actual work. The rest of the time is staying in there with the patient to make sure the patient doesn't crash or get worse in some way. Cool. Well, let's get these guys doffed.
Thank you.